All right, Retropalooza Houston 2022. How you? Oh, wow, already. Dallas. How you doing today? Well, I will be at Retropalooza Houston, but yes, Retropalooza Dallas 2022. Great to be here. Awesomely great to see actually quite a few new faces here today, including some that I've been wanting to meet for a long time, and a lot of people love to see all of y'all. So, but welcome in. I'm sure plenty of y'all. This is. I can't even think of what Retropalooza this is for me now, and it's just been wonderful every year that they brought me in. However, this year for Retropalooza is something very special because it's not just about me. It's not just about me. Today, I also would like to formally introduce for her first time as a convention guest, my wonderful wife, RanChan, aka RanChan Does Things.
Thank you everyone.
All right, so I guess let's introduce ourselves. Just for those who don't know who we are, I'll do a super quick introduction, and then I've got a couple of sneak previews to show y'all. I've got a little bit of a trailer to kind of show like what my YouTube channel and my Twitch streams are basically about, because at the end of the day, like I'm a retro inspired creator, whether it be streaming, whether it be YouTube creating, and also book writing, which I will get to that. And then we will basically pass it over to RanChan. She'll explain a little bit about what she does. And then I've got a special exclusive sneak preview of an upcoming YouTube video to show to all of y'all. We'll talk about this basically between Twitch streaming of the both of us. And then we've got something very special, a very special interactive game that we're gonna play with all of y'all. And I'll explain exactly what that will be once it's time. So I need to actually talk into the mic. But yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. So yeah, well, like I said, real quick, I'm G. Also known as G to the Next Level. I do retro and retro-inspired stuff, whether it be creating videos on YouTube, live streaming on Twitch, roughly about 4 days a week. I am actually writing a book about the Sega Genesis too. I've been doing YouTube. Oh, thank you. I've been doing YouTube now for 5 years. I actually just hit my 5-year anniversary not too long ago on YouTube, and getting close to 2 years on Twitch. So basically, been doing this for quite a while, and I love it. And so. Obviously, I'm not a fan of Sega, not at all. No. This thing of me wearing a Sonic shirt is totally fake. No, I've been a fan of Sega since '91. Since 1991, been a fan of the Sega Genesis. It's been a huge part of my life, but it's not just about Sega. Sega is my main go-to, is my favorite, whether it be Genesis, Saturn, Dreamcast, Master System, Game Gear, all that good stuff. But I also love Nintendo, PlayStation, Neo Geo, TurboGrafx. Pretty much anything retro I will love to dig into. And I share my love through my YouTube channel and Twitch streamings, and to share it with all of y'all. And I feel that if I can inspire, educate, and maybe even entertain a little bit, I feel like I'm doing a decent job. So, but yeah, that's what I do. So, RanChan, if you would like to.
Hi, I'm RanChan, aka RanChan Does Things. I do things. Things may include video games. He has it.
Oh yeah.
Video games and or art. I mostly stream games, but occasionally I will pull out the paints. I'll pull out the convoluted stream setup, because if you want to watch me do actual paintings, I need to get out like the overhead camera and all of that. It's why I don't do it as often as I'd like. But on Wednesday, I generally stream Wednesdays and Saturdays. Wednesdays, I've been going through point-and-click games. I've been playing point-and-click Wednesdays, and that's mostly because I'm really going through a lot of my childhood. I played a lot of point-and-click adventure games with my dad, with my brothers. So we did all of Monkey Island, we did all of, well not all of, but a lot of the Sam & Max games, including the original one. And I've even been going through more modern ones such as Deponia, and I just started Jenny LeClue Detective-oo. So that's a lot of fun, and I'm gonna keep doing that until I run out of point-and-click adventure games that I feel like playing. Luckily, that's a very long time away. And Saturdays I just do whatever I want. That's where I'll do my art streams. It's where I play a lot of Splatoon, or other random games that I'm just like, hey, let's throw on Phantasy Star Online, why not? And that's what I do. People can request what game I play, and sometimes they do. Sometimes it doesn't work out well, but sometimes it does. It's all good.
Okay. Cool. So I apologize for those that are trying to watch on Twitch. We seem to be having a little bit of a technical difficulty. Hector, if you just I guess just restart it and try starting it again and see if that works. Everything else should be set up. If not, well then we'll just abort it. I couldn't get it to work at PRGE either, but that was mainly because of data issues. So I'm not really sure why it's not doing that. But anyway, all right. So basically, what I'll do real quick, I'll show y'all a little bit of a trailer. So this is kind of a snapshot of basically what I do for G to the next level. So this is basically just an inner look at my YouTube channel. So I do a variety style of stuff. It's not just reviews, it's not just just talking in front of the camera or anything like that. I actually have a complete US retail collection. Not truly complete, I have all the cards, but I'm working on trying to get the rest of the manuals and the boxes that I have. So, but yeah, I love the Sega Genesis, wonderful, wonderful collection. So I do various different series on YouTube. One is called Console Consultation, where I essentially cover newer retro-style consoles. So whether it be like the Retro Freak or the Retron 5, the arcade one-up. I'm actually working on one on the Genesis Mini 2 when it actually comes in. In fact, if you like the Genesis Mini 2, which I'm excited for the Genesis Mini 2 next week. Yeah, I'm so excited. I've got both the American and the Japanese one pre-ordered. So I cannot wait for it. I hope you're excited because I am. I'm actually doing 3 different videos on it. So, but yeah, that's one of my series. There's the Retro Freak one right there. That's actually my very first video that I ever did on YouTube. And then I have a series called Level 10, which is basically my list series that I cover 10 things, 10 Sega Genesis games that maybe you skipped, or 10 of the greatest controllers of all time, that sort of thing. So I do that. I have a series called 3 Gaming Items I'm Proud to Own. As you can see, I'm a big Sonic fan as well, so I do all kinds of different Sonic content. I interviewed Lisa Ortiz. I'm gonna get to MC Colleen O'Shaughnessy's panel tomorrow. So I'll actually see y'all again tomorrow, Sunday afternoon too. So I'm very excited. But yeah, between that and 3 Gaming Items I'm Proud to Own, where I basically pick 3 gaming items in my collection that I love and have a very soft spot for, and share the childhood stories. Because that's one of the things that I love doing most about creating and whatnot, is sharing my childhood stories with everybody else, and I hope to do the same for other people like that too. Those are mainly the core series that are on the channel now. However, I've actually got quite a few new things coming in the pipeline. So I did take a little bit of a break from YouTube, but I am back. Actually, I'm back, and we're going to be doing a whole bunch of cool new things. And so I've got a couple little sneak slides and thumbnails to show y'all. So I got a couple of nice little sneak peeks so you can see what's coming up for the channel. So here we go. So remember how I said that, yeah, I've got a slew of new content that's basically coming through. This is the next episode of my Level 10 series. And yeah, it's 10 games that should have been on the Genesis Mini 2. So, because as we all know, the Genesis Mini 2 has 50 games. Genesis and Sega CD. It's not going through? Okay, I'll work that. Don't worry about it. But yeah, so I've actually got that coming through. And what's going to be another one to look out for? It's here's another one that I figure would be a fun one to share with everybody. And this is 10 great moments in games that suck. So games that are normally bad but have those unique little cool things. Yeah, you see that Tails right there. You see him. You know what game he's from. But yeah, they're a little, or what game specifically that one is from. But yeah, that's gonna be a fun one too, because I thought it's just do something against your normal, okay, top 10 Genesis games, top 10 games. I mean, I am working on that because Genesis, but I figured do things a little bit different. Who here is a fan of the TurboGrafx 16? I love the TurboGrafx 16. It's a system that unfortunately I didn't grow up with because you couldn't buy it. You couldn't really buy it in my area. So when they brought out the TurboGrafx 16 Mini, I was I'm all over it. But just like the Genesis Mini, there are some games I feel got passed over. So why not, right? So that's in the pipeline. This one, pay close attention to this one. This is one of 2 new series I'm actually going to be starting on the channel. It's called From Gutter to Throne. So instead of it being a top 10 or a list video, it's actually a ranking video. So basically I'll tackle every single facet of one thing to another. And this is the first episode. It's going to be about every single Sega Genesis 32X game from best to worst. And what you might see might surprise you, because there's some games that I feel this doesn't quite get the love. And I feel 32X as a whole just doesn't get nearly the love that it really should. And yeah, I mean, it happened. It wasn't exactly the best thing for Sega, but you know, it has some great games on it. So let's showcase it. A couple of other, I've got the pipeline for that. So Renovation Products, which is an excellent Sega company. I've got one for that, and then actually might be talking about a certain Red Plumber pretty soon on that too. So yeah. Console consultation. So a good buddy of mine actually loaned me his Atari VCS, and I figured this would be a fun one to cover because I know nothing about the Atari VCS. So normally whenever I do a console consultation, like I research it and I go through everything. Like I'll go through the unboxing, what's included, what works, what doesn't work, should you buy it, what games are included, that sort of thing. But the VCS I know nothing about, and I've intentionally tried to keep it like on the very noob level. So it'll be an introduction. We're gonna learn together. It's like we're all gonna learn together basically about how to make this thing work, because from what I've gathered, there's actually a treasure trove that you could do with the VCS. So I figured that would be a fun one to come back to console consultation.
At least it's not a Jaguar.
At least, well, yeah, but how about a Jaguar might come together to throw though? I mean, possibly. This one I am very, very excited for. So this is coming in November. This is called Mascot Mania. And what it is that it's the new review series that I'm actually doing. And what it is it's a review and a retrospective series where I will pick one gaming mascot, talk about why they're important to me and like a little bit of the history behind it. I don't want to go too terribly deep into it, but then depending on the game, I will pick one game to cover. Like my favorite game and why it means the most to me, and basically go from there because I love mascot platformers. I mean, between it, rhythm games, and Splatoon. Those are basically like my favorite kind of games out there, so why not? So, in the audience, who here knows who this is? Who here knows who this is? You know who this is. Is he awesome?
Awesome.
You are right, yep. So, I'll explain the story, because I actually have a fun little childhood story, and there also might be some YouTube guests, including a certain, my Retro Life creator, who actually provided his voice for this. So, yeah, this one's finally coming out. I've been working on it for quite a while, and yeah, it's going to be exciting. And then this is actually going to be the next console consultation. It's basically going to be about Switch Online, and specifically the Genesis side of Switch Online. We're going to cover the controller, going to cover the games that have been released so far, and just really determine, hey, should you sign up for the Switch Online expansion pack with the Genesis in mind? That's basically what we're going to be doing on that. And yeah, there's the Renovation Products one. So that's going to be episode 2 from Go to Their Phone. So yeah, because some of my favorite games are from that company. I feel like a lot of people don't really talk about it. Y'all know what this is. But y'all might know what this is. So yeah, it's what I feel is one of the most interesting Sonic games out there. And I feel like a lot of people still haven't really covered this one. So that's going to be a fun one. That one's actually going to be a really fun one too. But yeah, that's basically all the ones that that I'm working on confirmed in the pipeline for YouTube. Now, going back, so this one in particular, the 32X from Go to the Throne. So, as a special sneak peek to all of you, I've got a little tiny preview of this one. Y'all want to see it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, awesome. Well then let's do it. Audio.
Almighty console wars of the 1990s. I guess many people see the Sega 32X as one of the company's biggest missteps in the almighty console wars of the 1990s. I can see why Sega wanted to bridge the gap between the previous generation of the Mega Drive and the future, i.e. the Sega Saturn. In the West, the Genesis still had plenty of life left, and while I feel that the 32X was a conscious effort, in the end they really should have just cooled their jets a bit. Well, many people see the Sega
Alright, I'm gonna have to change that real quick.
32X.
Nope. No, it's alright. I thought that it would just go through HDMI. It's alright. I can change it. Cool again. Alright, that should do it. Oh, no, I know. There we go.
I can see why Sega wanted to bridge the gap between the previous generation of the Mega Drive and the future, i.e. the Sega Saturn. In the West, the Genesis still had plenty of life left, and while I feel that the 32X was a conscious effort, in the end they really should have just cooled their jets a bit, let the Saturn run its course. Alas, the 32X wasn't long for this world.
It wouldn't even be the first attempt of Sega trying to jump the gun on its competition, and it most definitely wouldn't be their worst.
But it really should be no surprise to you, and I'm a huge fan of the 32X. I love the system going
Dearly, dearly. In fact, I remember that Christmas morning, the year that the 32X was launched, when my parents got me the 32X, and they got me these 3 games. They got me Virtua Racing Deluxe, Doom, and Cosmic Carnage. Well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad, right? The system is mostly seen as a flaw, but the quality of the small game library is what routinely comes up for debate among the retro community. Some say that the 32X game library is filled with gems, while some say it's one of the worst in history. So that's the subject of today's video, which is the debut of my new ranking series that I call From Gutter to Throne. And today we're diving into the library of the Sega 32X to see which classic game sits at the top, which travesties in the ditch, and all the games in between. Of course, a few conditions. First, this list will consist of only the Sega 32X cartridge library, no Sega CD 32X games. I want to keep the list fair, and since they're all just enhanced ports of Sega CD FMV games, I may save those for a future list. And one 32X cartridge game will be omitted from this list, and that is Sengoku Kushi 4, the Japanese exclusive port of Koei's Romance of the Three Kingdoms 4. I've never played any of the games in the series, and since it's very Japanese language heavy, I can't review it. So if you have played it, consider Sengoku Kushi 4 ranked where you think it should be. That being said, strap yourself in, get yourself your favorite beverages and snacks, as we're going to take a look at what takes home the gold and what sits in the mold, as we take a look at every Sega 32X game and rank them from gutter to throne. I'm G, and welcome to the next level. Lying in the gutter at number 33, it's Motocross Championship from Sega. Extreme sports were all the rage in the 90s, so it makes sense that Sega would want an extreme sports game for their 32X line. So we got Motocross Championship, and the only thing extreme about this game is how extremely awful it is. The game is ferociously ugly to look at, with muddled textures, blurry or non-existent backgrounds, and overly pixelated characters. I get that the 32X struggles with textured polygons, but this game is just gross to look at. I mean, take a look at Road Rash 3 on the Genesis, a game that came out the same year as the 32X. Half the bits, but twice as appealing to the eye. The audio is pretty terrible too. Very shrill, harsh Western Genesis music that obviously isn't using the 32X's power at all. And be prepared to hear the clanging of your bike and your colliding opponent saying, a lot. In fact, the start of doing
That's an understatement.
with dog piling into each other. It's freaking stupid. Just like the AI, it's pretty non-existent. The controls aren't too bad for the bike itself, but when you try to punch or kick people, again like Road Rash, it's still delayed and in some cases won't respond at all. Why are you punching people in Road Cross? And the tracks are uninspired, and because you're so close to the camera, many times you wind up jumping into a mud pool or colliding with another racer when coming down off jumps or taking sharp turns. It's a disaster. Keep in mind, this is a game that Sega published themselves. This is embarrassingly bad, especially when there are several racing games on the Genesis that look and play much better than this game. Overall, Motocross Championship is ugly and annoying, with the latter being the keyword here. Everything about this game is annoying. Unless you're going for a full 32X collection, stay away from it at all costs. Next. Number 32, BC Racers from Core Design. If you're a fan of Chuck Rock, stand up. No? Nobody? Ah, there's one. I knew you were out there.
Dang.
BC Racers is a kart racing game. It's a spin-off of Core Design's Chuck Rock series, and the 32X version is a port of the Sega CD game of the same name. And like you'll see in many of the games that make up the lower half of this list, you'll question why they ported it to the 32X in the first place. I actually kind of like the Sega CD game. I mean, it's not mind-blowing or anything, but it has a consistent frame rate, good soundtrack, and you can attack in 2 directions. The 32X version is worse than the Sega CD original in nearly every way. Not only that, it's another 32X game that's just ugly to look at. You got pixelated character sprites, environments that try way too hard to be cartoony, and the frame rate is all over the place. Some stages are just a nightmare to get through, like this nighttime stage where you can barely see in front of you, or this forest stage where there's just too much going on. But what kind of frame rate is that? Yes, the controls are very slippery. There's no brake or drift button, so I want them crashing into the signs or environment even when they're slowing down to a proper speed. This happens a lot, so you'll find yourself crashing out of races more often than you'd like. The whole game is just very mediocre. Colors are blah, the music is boring, the characters are all very uninteresting. In fact, probably the most interesting thing about this game is this random muscle-bound dude flexing during the character select screen. Like, he's not even playable as far as I know, so why is he there? Is he a recurring character in the vast Chuck Rock universe? Someone's gotta have an answer. But yeah, VC Racers, it's not horrible by any means, but definitely not worth your time.
This is the first time I got to see that too.
Nice.
Yeah, it gets better. It actually gets really, really better. Now, it's a very long video, but hopefully stick around for the to see the full rest of the list. So yeah. All right, but yeah, that's coming very soon. I should have it out hopefully within the next week or two, because I know it's getting towards the final stages on it. So yeah. All right. I guess before the next little preview that I got for everybody, I guess we can talk a little bit about Twitch. Mainly because it's something that that we both kind of share. So for those that don't know, I do YouTube, basically pre-recorded videos on YouTube. I don't really stream on YouTube, but I do stream on Twitch. And I roughly stream like Sundays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays currently. And each one of them have different theme days. But between the two of us, I actually wasn't the first one to start streaming on Twitch. RanChan here was actually the first one. So I guess if you want to talk a little bit more about like your experiences, because this is really your first kind of like online creative endeavor aside from just art. So just kind of explain, I mean like in like a creative fashion, something like YouTube or Twitch. So just kind of explain like, you know, what you do for
Something
Twitch.
where I show my face.
Not too, and sometimes me too.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
So I've been known as RanChan for 20 years on the internet. And I started streaming the very last Splatfest of Splatoon 2.
Who are Splatoon fans, by the way? Nice. I play, whenever I stream on Fridays, I normally do Switch games on Fridays. So I do Splatoon with everybody. So if anybody ever wants to play with me, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, go ahead.
It wasn't the last Splatfest, it was the last official Splatfest, which was the Chaos versus Order. I really wanted to share it with everyone, and G said it was easy to stream, and he had gotten a capture card that was easy to use. He helped me set it up, he helped me set up what I needed, and then I streamed. I didn't have a camera at the time, I didn't even have my overlays. And then it's, hey, should I keep doing this? I guess. And eventually I made an overlay and I got all my stuff together, and eventually people wanted to see me on camera, which was a surprise for me. And I was like, okay. So then I was on camera. Starting about 2 weeks ago, I did make a VTuber just for fun. And I'm going to bring it out on the occasional Saturday. The only reason I didn't use it last Saturday is because I got my hair done that day, and I was like, I have a fresh haircut. I shouldn't waste this. So yeah, I'll probably bring her out a little more on Saturdays. I don't want to use her on Wednesdays because those games are more tied to me personally in my childhood. And so I really want to do that. And it's been surprising to me how many people want to come by and like watch me play games and play games with me. Some of the people who come by have been friends for years or even decades, and we just haven't had a lot of time to chat all the time. But if I do this, it's like, hey, I'm gonna be here at this time. If you want to come, great. If you don't have to. And people come by and they say hi and they'll talk for 10 minutes and then go about their life. And I feel like it's almost me reaching out to try and be friends with everyone out there. I want to be friends with the world, but I don't want to go out and bother anyone. So I'm here. If you want to be my friend and come by, come by.
And that's one of the best things that I found about streaming, that it's helped me a lot, especially with going through like the last couple of years and how the world has changed, how we don't really get a chance to go out and see as many people that we really want to, right? And if there's one thing that I found with Twitch streaming, just the communities that have been so welcoming, especially within the retro space. The communities that have just been so welcoming and amazing, and it's one of my favorite streamers. Her name is Abby Jams. Shout out to Abby. I'm not streaming, that's fine. But shout out to Abby Jams, like one of my favorite streamers. She put it pretty much best. It's like hanging out with friends. It's like the more that you do it, and the more people that you meet and through time. There's somebody here in the audience who actually I met through Twitch and came to, I'm gonna come see you at the convention, and it's thrilling to meet them. And that happened last week at a PRGE, and every time I get a chance to do that, it's wonderful. And it's just like the community is so welcoming and inviting, and I know it's just like how amazing you've been in your streams, especially like during your point and click adventures. Everybody just goes along with you with the story and the ride. So
people will
like,
show
awesome.
up for point and click days who like never show up for anything, and it turns out they've been lurking the whole time. They just don't talk, and it's like, oh, this was my favorite game when I was 7, and I'm like,
and that is perfectly fine. Yeah, exactly. So you've got point and click Wednesdays, and then you've got Saturdays that you normally do, just like a variety. Right now it's mostly Splatoon, but it's mainly a variety. So for me, like I do Sundays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Sundays is normally like, I call it Shining Force Sunday. If you're a fan of Shining Force, I played through many of the Sega Shining Force games. I just finished up a Shining Force CD, which was incredible, wonderful game. Next up is going to be Shining Force Final Conflict on the game here. And so
played Snatcher.
I did also play Snatcher on Sega CD. So if it's not Shining Force, it's normally like an RPG or some adventure or some variety. And that game, like I never sat down and played Snatcher before in my life, and I got addicted. It was wonderful. But that's Sundays. Tuesdays I do viewer request night. So like viewer requests, like basically as you watch, you gain channel points. And then when you redeem your channel points, you can pick games for me to stream, like on Tuesdays. Thursdays tend to be modern, like more either modern or retro-inspired games, like a variety of different types of games.
More indie games as well.
More indie games, like more than anything. And then Friday is a community Switch night. So I'll do, whether it be Mario Kart, Mario Party, sometimes we used to do Bomberman R, but unfortunately not anymore. Fall Guys, but mostly Splatoon. Like we normally ended up with Splatoon 3 because I love Splatoon. So it's wonderful, and it's something that we share together too. So, but not only that, every now and then this lovely lady will show up on stream with me, called Couples Collab, and we'll normally do something together.
Or Couples Clash.
Sometimes we go against each other. So, yeah.
I forgot to turn that off.
It is okay. Speaking of which, we're actually going to do a Couples Collab live in just a moment. So that's
With
basically
all
what
of
we're
you.
going to do. Yep, exactly. But before that, I got a couple of other things to show you. So here's just kind of a little bit of a snapshot of really what to expect on my Twitch channel. So here we go. How you doing, everybody? I'm G. Welcome in and welcome to the next level. You did it. Next.
Oh, I remember that.
Oh, what? Oh, see, that's messed up. The label is yellow, but it's a skateboard. Because the one thing on skateboard is that it has one of the best in-game songs, like in all time. I think it's. You know what? You want to do that, bud? You want to play that game? I'm okay with playing that game. Goodbye! I'm such a troll in this game sometimes. I want to be the very best.
But
No one ever was. Cash them is my real test. The training is my cause. In a world where pizza always responds, but select few are chosen to pick the ones that are worthy to be eaten. Which ones will rise and which will fall? Coming to theaters near you as the dough rises. Rated PG-13. I don't know where I was going with that, but there you go. Oh, no. Go. That dang game. I beat it though. So close. I have a structured settlement for my PG cash now.
Call JG, 14-877 cash now.
Wow. Yeah, that's not normal. super lawmakers is quick to jump cutter, tail little packer, swinging time singing, hooba, hooba, hooba.
I keep catching him singing.
There's a lot of singing that happens. If you know, you know. Oh, whoa. Okay. How much you want to bet? Like, how much you want to bet? As soon as I turn in the other direction, I'm dead.
Yeah.
I knew it. Great game, though. What? Skills.
Oh, that's so cheap.
Oh my god, really? But yeah, they're decent. Oh, come on! Yeah! So that's my buddy Winged Bots. He'll pop on stream sometimes too.
We did it! You did it!
Come on my stream sometimes.
Nice! There it is! Cheers! Cheers all around. Boom! Drinks on me!
I also cosplay too.
Well, back in my day, we used to fight demons one-on-one in this annoying wood named Tanjiro Kamado kept on getting on my nerves. Whoa, I wanted to slay him with a floor rush.
Dang, this thing's hot! Freaking hot! I was saying that it's boobs, let's see if it's boobs. Alright, Kale says it's boobs. It looks like a booba lady. It is booba. Oh, it's cool, that's 2 tires, that is why. That's why it threw me off. I was just like, wait a minute, is it tires? It's Golden X2, her outfit's different. That's why. Oh, go team. Alright, so what are we doing here? We're actually raising money for Team 7. We're raising money for her education. It's an awesome organization. Don't transgender, non-binary, and gender fluid youth and their families. If you type exclamation point charity or exclamation point donate in the chat, you can help out. If you hit 1,000 pounds, we'll play the air of the Little American Australia. Boom.
That was amazing.
That game is silly.
And thank y'all for being there for me and all the support that you've given me too. It's been great. Now this is only the beginning. Y'all been awesome and amazing, and I hope that after this we continue to be awesome and amazing. So yeah, that's me.
Alright. So yeah, there's just a little bit of a snapshot on that too. I do all kinds of different things. One other thing I forgot to mention too. A couple things I also do on stream. I'm with Sega as part of what's known as Team Sega. We're a charity group. And basically, we do streams on Twitch. The one that you saw where I was doing with the iToy, where I was yelling and waving and trying to hail taxis, that was actually part of a stream with Team Sega that we were raising money for Mermaids UK. So we do it a couple of times a year, and yeah, it's incredible to be part of that board. So yeah, it's awesome. And I'm also a Capcom creator too. So a lot of good things, happening. What time?
It's 11:06.
11:06. Okay, yeah, we got time. Okay, cool. So, if you notice one thing that was in the middle, the clip that was in the middle where I sang Marsupilami. That's one of the things that I basically do on Tuesdays is Rated Genesis Game Kids. This is where I basically will talk about the book. So it's very much in the budding stages, but I'm writing a book all about the Sega Genesis and growing up with the Sega Genesis called Growing Up Genesis, where essentially I'm going to talk about how, growing up in 1991 and growing up with an area that was mostly Nintendo, being like one of the few people that actually had a Sega or had a Genesis, like in some variety. Just kind of growing up with that, sharing a few of my stories, but at the end of the day, it's a coffee table book to kind of cover not a complete historical piece, but to kind of cover what you need to know about the system. So A to Z for the complete US Genesis library, so there's going to be little tiny mini reviews on each one. We're going to talk about the 32X, we're going to talk about variants, talk about accessories, and yeah, it's, like I said, very much just getting started, but it's going to be awesome. So normally I would probably show that little clip, but I'm actually, just be sure to come in on the stream, because I'm wondering about time. So just be sure to come in on the stream on Tuesdays if you'd like to actually see me review Sega Genesis games live. And it's actually a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and every little bit helps towards the book. So yeah. All right, well then, that being said, I guess we'll take roughly about, say about 10 minutes. So roughly about 10 minutes or so. For a little bit of Q&A. Like if anybody's got any questions for either me or for RanChan. Yeah, if anybody's got any questions for us, yeah, what you got?
Any good game pickups lately?
Any good game pickups lately? Well, I haven't really been shopping around for games lately. I'd probably say one of the best things that happened earlier this year, shout out to my buddy Edgar, who actually really made this happen. So y'all saw that little tiny clip that showed of my complete Genesis collection, right? One of the things that eluded me for so many years was trying to get a complete in-box Crusader of Senti, aka Ragna Senti, aka Soleil, whatever you want to call it. Is a extremely rare and very hard to get game, and I've been trying to get that game complete for years, like ever since I was a kid, because I only ever had the cart when I was a kid. So I was at Retropalooza, and the interesting thing is that I got a message from him. He's saying, "Hey, buddy, I'm looking to sell a couple of things. Do you still need a Crusader Senti?" I was like, "I do, but it's very expensive." And I'm like, I don't know if I can make this work. And he was like, well, hey, you're my buddy. I want you to have it. I don't want anybody random to have it. I want you to help this weird collection. So we managed to work it out. And yeah, now I finally have a full, complete box manual and everything of Crusader Senti.
Nice.
That's probably the biggest game I picked up. And the last one that was actually really cool and unique. I'm thinking about doing a video about it if I can wedge it in. So I also like to collect not just Sonic stuff, but also variants of the Genesis and Mega Drive Sonic games. And I was at Portland Retro Gaming Expo last weekend, and one of the booths I saw had like this weird blue Mega Drive box of Sonic and Knuckles. Like I had never seen it before, and I had to look really closely. I saw a little emblem in the corner, and it said Asian version on it. It's a PAL Asian variant of Sonic and Knuckles. There were none on eBay, so I couldn't really see what it was worth. And I did a little bit of digging on it. I was like, this is cool. And so I opened it up and I just make sure that everything was legit. It wasn't like a reproduction or anything like that. And no, it was fully legit. And so talked with the guy, worked a really good price on it, and just something cool and unique. So that's probably really what I'm looking for now whenever I'm shopping and hunting around, because I don't really collect like on the mainstay anymore. So if it's something cool, unique, and quirky, like I'm all about it. What about you?
I own most of the games I've been looking for already. I'm only missing a couple of things here and there, and many of them are very difficult to find IRL or are kind of out of my price range. I still need a box for my Pokemon Ruby, which I believe is the only one I don't have a box for.
Correct.
We need one of the Pokepal parks.
Pokepark one for Wii.
We need Pokepark one for the Wii.
Yeah, because she's trying to get all the Pokemon
I'm
games.
trying to get some PAL copies of a couple of Pokemon games, but PAL copies are not like easy to come by. And I'm looking for one game this weekend. Just one. It came out on 5 consoles. And I cannot find a copy to save my life. I have asked every booth that I've had a chance to ask, and no one has it. Just in case any of you have it. It's the Back to the Future game, available on Wii, PS3, PS4, Xbox 360, and Xbox One.
Wow.
It's a point-and-click adventure game, and I would like to play it for my next point-and-click Wednesday game after I finish Jenny LeClue. Unfortunately, no one has it.
It's a weird one. It's one to find ones that aren't necessarily expensive or rare, but like the uncommon ones, those are always kind of tricky to find. It's really weird. It's kind of like how the last game that I needed to complete my Genesis collection was Doom 2: The Battle for Arrakis. It's like not a rare game, but it was one that I could never find complete in box, like ever.
When it's not worth a lot of money, a lot of booths don't necessarily go out of their way to pack it in a box.
It depends.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Sure. What's up?
What's your inspiration to get into when you got into video games? What's your inspiration?
Now you mean like to get into video games, or you mean to get into like YouTube and Twitch and everything?
Well, into video games.
Into video games.
Oh, the video games in general. Oh, so yeah, my dad and I, we used to go bowling. Well, more specifically, they would go bowling at a bowling alley, like over in Houston, Texas. And this bowling alley, what was cool is that they would always like, because I didn't have a Game Boy or a Game Gear or anything like that. So we would actually go there, and they had an arcade. And I was always just drawn to what was in that arcade. Something about that arcade I could never find out for real if they had like some sort of partnership with Sega, or maybe their owner just really, really loved Sega, but they had like all the big games. They had Altered Beast, they had Afterburner, they had Outrun, they had Space Harrier. Like they had all the big hits. And so my dad and I, but of course they also had like, you know, they had your Pac-Mans and Vanguard and whatnot, which that was the very first game that I ever played in the arcade, was Vanguard. And so I got it, something about it. I think it was the music, like more than anything. The music of Vanguard and the style that just kind of drew me into it. But then playing all those other games, and then finally, like my dad and I, like when it was time to buy another console, we saw that all those games that he loved and that I loved were both on it. It also helped, you know, he's a golfer, and there was a golf game that came up for it as well, on Palmer. So we got that, but then a certain blue hedgehog came around. And once I found out about Sonic and I saw the marketing and whatnot for it, I was just like, I want this and I love this and I need this. And so I was really trying to kind of pitch to my dad why we should get this. And I was like, well, these are the games that we played together in the arcade. And he's like, no, that's cool. Yeah, but then there's Sonic. Like, I want Sonic. Can we get Sonic? Like, maybe. And my mom was like, well, you know, there's a golf game for it too. And he's like, all right, we can do that. So yeah, and then from there, it's just kind of gone from there. And something about just like the retro style, like I play modern games too. But there's just something about the charm and the uniqueness and the simplicity of like retro games that's just become just a part of me just over the years. And I don't think I'm ever really gonna stop gaming.
I am a third generation gamer and nerd. My grandfather ran D&D games for his children. My father, who went to high school with one Richard Garriott, and played D&D with Richard Garriott, got to see original Ultima gameplay and graphics while he was working on it in his bedroom. My dad was a total nerd, played video games his whole life. His first console was a Fairchild Channel F.
Which I'm still trying to get one, by the way.
Which means I can't remember when I first played games because it goes as far back as my memory does and longer. I remember playing Yoshi's Cookie on a black and white brick Game Boy.
Or green and black.
Green and black. When I was like 2 or 3. It's a very vague memory, but I remember Yoshi's Cookie and a green and black Game Boy. I remember the SNES, I remember the Apple IIGS, an old DOS Windows machine. Windows 95 was where we did a lot of gaming. That's why I played a lot of point-and-click adventure games. That's why I played Sam & Max. That's exactly what I played on. Sam & Max, Monkey Island, Day of the Tentacle, all those classic LucasArts games. My earliest arcade games were Miss Pac-Man, Centipede, and Dig Dug, because those arcade machines were in my pediatrician's office. By the way, still in that same pediatrician's office, because one of my best friends has a daughter who went to the exact same doctor I went to, and says those machines are still there and still running.
Right.
So they are still introducing classic arcade gaming to newer generations, and that's fantastic. My mom would love playing Pac-Man and Centipede with me whenever we would have a doctor's visit. It made going to the doctor a good thing. It's like, hey, it's time to go to the doctor. Great, I get to play Centipede.
Now, you didn't even mention earlier about how good you are at puzzle games. Because that's one thing that actually really do for sure. Because if you want to see somebody who is really good at puzzle games, she's incredible at puzzle games. In fact, you might just catch her at a certain Pokemon Puzzle League tournament.
Tomorrow.
She's a 10-time Pokemon Puzzle League champion / Tetris attack.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. So real quick, what we're gonna do, because I was checking time.
Okay.
We're gonna still continue to take questions, but I'm gonna go ahead and set up the game that we're gonna be playing
All right.
today.
You set that
So,
up, and
you're
I will
gonna
take
need
the
to be
next.
there.
Okay.
Well, because you need to see the screen.
Oh,
So
okay.
since you need to see the screen, I think you can go ahead and take the
I will
microphone.
do my best.
But yeah, so we're gonna hook this up and hope that we get audio. I hope we get audio. Well, if
hear
anything,
something.
it'll come through there.
Good.
Let's see if I can double it here.
It should be all charged up if you want to hand me the controller.
There we go. Okay, it does work.
It does work.
All right.
Great, it works.
Okay, so yeah, we're gonna still continue to take questions. So what the game that we're gonna play today, I don't know if y'all saw that clip where it's like we were trying to guess if it was boobs in the Picross puzzle. This is Picross S, but specifically it is a Sega officially licensed version of Picross. It's a number and grid-based puzzle game. So what we do in chat on Twitch is RanChan here does the puzzles, and then we all try to guess what the puzzle is together in the chat, and she knows like one step before the end of the puzzle. She'll say, hey, puzzle's done, and then we get a chance to guess what the Sega theme is.
All right, does that
before
work?
everybody knows. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So she's gonna do that while
Still ask me questions.
yeah, absolutely. And it's like we still take any more questions than we have for everybody, and then if anybody is able to guess what the game is, go color. If anybody can guess what the puzzle is and gets it right, I have prizes for y'all. So yeah.
I'll do the puzzle randomly.
Perfect.
So, if I remember right, at the beginning of the year, which doesn't seem all that long ago, but
It really doesn't.
I remember you saying that in 2022 you wanted to look through the Super Nintendo library more. How has that gone? Have your thoughts changed on the system? What have you discovered that you like, don't like?
So one thing, Janice was asking, what are kind of the things about the Super Nintendo? So earlier this year, the first game that I actually wound up beating on stream this year was Super Mario World, which was a game that I had never actually sat down and played ever in my life. I had only ever played like the first world. And so I said to myself, I wanted to take some time this year, whether I do it on stream or off stream, to get more into the Super NES library. Because I'm not nearly as well knowledge on Super NES as I am on Genesis. And so he was asking, well, how's that really going for? If there's one thing that I have noticed in my time of playing more Super Nintendo games, I have noticed, as somebody who was very, very like pro Genesis, I've had to kind of eat my words a little bit on quite a few Super NES games I've gotten a chance to play that I feel are actually better than the Genesis versions. Like Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Like I just recently beat that on stream. That was, it was intense, but we did it. And I realized just how much better the Super NES version is on that. But as far as like some of the other original games on Super NES, I haven't gotten a chance to really dig into it nearly as much as you used to. But I would like to play a little bit more. I mean, I know there's, especially like some of the shooters we're looking at, like Biometal, I'd love to play more of that. And I mean, I'm always like taking more and more suggestions on Super NES games to try, so. But yeah, so not quite as much as I'd like to, but it's still definitely on the table, especially Mega Man X. That's another one I really need to get into.
I finished the puzzle.
Okay, so, all right, so the puzzle is done. If anybody wants to take a guess at what Sega...
There will be something in the bottom corner.
Right, because there's one more thing for her to fill. So if anybody wants to take any sort of guess of what the Sega icon is, if you can get it right, then you get a prize. So he says Sonic, all right. Okay. All right, well, I think we got one person for Sonic. Let me see what it is. Honestly, I'm not sure. Let's see what it is. It is...
Orblitz?
Orblitz from Vistar? Okay, Vistar, Vistar, whatever you want to call it. Oh, these animated?
I guess the color ones might be.
Interesting. All right. There we go. I was about to ask if you could do like one of the larger ones, because then from there,
Yeah, I was gonna do some.
it might be a little bit easier to guess those.
Okay.
Perfect. All right. Okay, next.
Okay, first one's for RanChan. So,
Yes.
speaking of a certain puzzle game, are you going to keep that streak alive today?
It's tomorrow,
It's tomorrow.
and yes.
Oh, man. I hope you do, because
I brought my special controller.
Oh, she don't play.
like a boss.
I've
don't
been
play.
practicing on my Switch. in
like
German.
A boss right there.
One other thing about this game too is that they always have like different Genesis music too, which is really cool, and Master System stuff.
Oh, and for Eugene, are you actually going to get Freedom Planet 2 at some point?
I am going to get Freedom Plan 2 once it comes out on console. So unfortunately, I gotta wait. But yeah, I do absolutely want to get Freedom Planet 2. I love the first one. First one's awesome. So I will get it, but I don't understand why it's taking a year for it to come out on console, but it's all right. So yeah, I will definitely
It's so
though.
beautiful right now, man.
It's good.
And the music.
Yes, sir. What you got?
Like, I knew a lot of people kind of thought they really liked it, but I kind of enjoyed it.
I love it. So he asked one of my thoughts on Sonic Spinball. I love it. The first thing I normally tell to anybody about Sonic Spinball is don't go into it like a traditional pinball game. It's normally the first two things I normally say. It's like go into it like it's an adventure game that has pinball elements. You probably will really enjoy it. Once you figure out the boards, and once you figure out how it all works, the boards are, well, maybe not quite stage 4, but like the stage 1, 2, and 3 are so brilliantly designed. But the thing is that you just have to, and this comes my second point, give it time and give it patience. Like, keep practicing, don't give up. Like, if you're not having a good time, you're not having a good time. I can't really say it's for everybody, but I really, really enjoyed it. As a kid, I played the heck out of it, and I have actually won CC in that game. Well, one life clear, because you don't get any continues. But I've actually done a deathless run on it, and it was awesome. The Master System / Game Gear version, though, it's not good. That's not good. All right, puzzle's done. Actually, it's working out perfectly. Yeah, puzzle's done.
I don't know what it is.
I don't know what this one is either.
Very limited.
Anybody want to take a guess?
I don't know.
No?
You can be vague if you think it looks like something.
Right.
Then you'll still win.
Right.
It's like in that clip when people were like, is it boobs?
Right. Everybody kept guessing and it wound up being correct. So.
They were right.
All right. Well, go ahead with it. Let's see what it is. This is really cool, by the way. It's only like what's it? Normally like $8. I think it's like $7.99.
Something like that.
$6.99?
They're not terribly expensive.
It's Blue Spear from Sonic. It was Sonic.
Blue Spear.
It was Sonic. All right.
But someone said Sonic for the last one. Did they say Sonic for this one?
Close enough. Come on up. Let's see. What do you prefer? Do you prefer Mario or Pokemon? Pokemon? All right, cool.
There's a Pokemon prize?
There is a Pokemon prize. It's a Magikarp Splash Standing.
Oh,
There you
stop
go.
making those.
Good job. All right. Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Yes.
What is the estimated time of release for your book?
Estimated time of release for the book. I could not tell you exactly what. So my original goal was I wanted to have the compendium part, the A to Z part, like in draft form by the end of this year. I can't really say that's still going to happen now. My goal is I at least want to get it draft ready by the end of 2023. So the best thing about it is that I do have a publisher lineup, which is great. And he said, take all the time that you need. He's like, take all the time that you need to do it, take your time, no rush, we're going to be here as long as we know that we're going to be here. So, but yeah, roughly I'd probably say about end of 2023 is when I'm hoping to have my draft ready, and then we'll start working on like the layouts and getting, I am actually working on, once I get the compendium portion done, because I also want to add like little tiny blurbs from like other creators and authors and whatnot on certain parts, like maybe a 1-sentence memory or something for that. So yeah, that's the plan.
Well, I will definitely vote for your book for New York Times bestseller.
No, thank you. New York Times bestseller, please.
Oh, by the way,
What's that being sold on usual storefronts like Amazon, etc.? It's going to be more print on demand, Indiegogo, is that?
Oh no, it's still going to be on Amazon. Oh no, absolutely it's going to be on Amazon. Yeah. Anybody have a question? Sure.
Since it's October, what are your favorite games to play for Halloween?
Well, so normally like my favorite games to play on Halloween, this really like anything kind of retro focused for the most part. Splatterhouse. I actually just beat Splatterhouse 1, 2, 3, and SD Splatterhouse. I beat them all on stream. 3 is something else.
I just finished Grim Fandango for Halloween.
Yep, Zombies Ate My Neighbors is another one that I love dearly. Like, that's one I love playing during the Halloween time. I know next week on Twitch, I'm doing something a little different for Halloween. I'm actually going to be doing Catherine Full Body. You've heard of Catherine Full Body. I'm doing it all week long. I'm going to try to get as many endings as I possibly can. So, because that's got some spooky elements to it. And then I'm doing Ill Bleed on the Dreamcast, doing that afterwards. And then right now on the docket for actual Halloween day, I'm actually going to be doing Countdown Vampires for the PS1. If you've never heard of this game, it is insane and it is crazy. But that plan might change depending on Capcom. It might change, so keep you posted.
The next puzzle is ready.
Okay, puzzle is ready.
I might know what it is.
But a lot of them.
I think I know what it is. But I'm going to let y'all guess first. I think I know what it is.
Like that, Brady migrated, Galactus, the buzz from Galactus.
Well, that's Namco. Galaxian?
Has to be Sega.
It's got to be something Sega. And
Genesis.
Genesis and Master System specifically. You said Golden Axe? Okay, this is from Golden Axe. Anybody? Okay. So I'm going to take a guess. I'm going to take a guess on it. Since it's animated and I'm looking at the colors, I'm going to guess it's Flicky.
Is it not Opa Opa?
No, the colors don't match.
Oh.
Yeah, no pink and green.
Are you ready to see it?
I'm ready. Yeah, and I think we got time for one more question after that. Well, actually, no. I think we're good. This might be the last one. Let's see what it is.
Rice ball.
Oh my goodness! It was a rice ball.
I can do the other tiny ones real quick if you want.
Well, if you got a super quick one, you got 2 minutes.
Got it.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Actually, while you're doing that, I can do this. And does anybody else have one last question?
No, but
hold on.
one thing I can say about what RanChan
Michael,
said
hold on.
about Fair Child.
Oh yeah, go look for
It's
it.
410. It's 410 completed box though.
Rough. All right, you in the back.
So you're getting into the Super Nintendo games. Ever thought about playing Super Metroid?
Yes, I love Super Metroid. Incredible game. So absolutely, yes, Super Metroid is on the docket for sure. It's awesome. I love Metroid. I mean, shame on me that I haven't gotten a chance to really play Metroid Dread yet.
Oh, that
But, it's awesome. But yeah, it's wonderful.
Alright.
It's ready.
done.
Okay, one last chance for guesses, y'all. One last chance.
I think I know what it is.
This one I really don't know. Yeah, I'm really confused on this one.
I'm stumped.
Yeah, I'm stumped on this one too. And this happens. That's why it's good to be in the chat, because like with the chat on Twitch, we all like kind of bounce off each other. Yeah, all right,
I
cool.
think it's a Sonic ring.
You think it's a Sonic ring? Well, let's see. It is! Oh, excellent. All right, we are going to do that again on stream again. So definitely come see us. Once again, I'm G to the next level. You know, like welcome to the next level with a G like me. I'm going to be floating around the convention floor. I do have a table right by the Retro World Series booth, back right next to that lovely gentleman right there. Who, by the way, I'm going to embarrass you real quick while you're here. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't be here today, because he actually helped me get started on YouTube, helped me break out of my social shell. So if it weren't for him, I wouldn't be here. So stick around for his panel. And this is my awesome wife, RanChan, aka RanChan Does Things.
Come by our booth and you can see art that I have made live on stream. And if you want, you can request me to make art for you live at the table.
Yep. And then I actually will be emceeing Colleen O'Shaughnessy's panel tomorrow at 11. So you'll see me there as well. But yes, definitely thank y'all for coming out, and I'll see you around the con. I'm G, and I'll see you on the next level. Thanks, y'all.
Let's go, RanChan.
Let's go, RanChan!